Sir, up to this it is very clear what is customized exception or user defined exception. Now I will go for a small executable program, how to define user defined exception, how to raise that exception based on our requirement. Okay, observe carefully, sir. Sir, every exception, whether it is predefined exception or whether it is user defined exception, is a class. First, every exception in Java is a class which should be child class of throwable. Regarding every exception in Java should be child class of throwable, either directly or indirectly. Okay, how you can define your own exception class? Write a class, okay, to young exception. I'm taking to young exception. My own exceptions are class to young exception extends. Sir, now do you know you can take throwable, you can take exception, you can take runtime exception, like, but highly recommended you should go for runtime exception. Highly recommended we should go for runtime exception, sir. Sir, why? What is the reason for that? At last I will explain. Just observe that it acts as just a template, right? Okay, sir, extends a runtime exception. What is the reason? I will explain, don't worry. Okay, now here I am taking to young exception. Sir, I am defining the constructor. Do you want to pass any message description for your exception? Yes, to young exception. Please wait some more time. Definitely you will get best matches soon. I want to provide some description. If you want to provide some description, okay, compulsory we have to take argument. Okay, sir, string msg I'm taking, sir, any variable string msg. Okay, here super of msg I'm taking. That's all. Okay, I'm passing this message description to the parent class. What is the reason for that? I will explain. Sir, just observe. I write a class that extends runtime exception. Next, I am writing a constructor which can take some string variable super of message. Here two things I want to explain. What is the need of this super of message? Next, why it is recommended to go for runtime exception? These two things after completing our example I will discuss. Don't worry, sir. This is the template. Okay, like suppose if your exception is not going to take any description, just to young exception, that's all. I won't pass any description at runtime. Then this constructor also not required. You can take a default constructor, right? Okay, well, sir, now let me take another exception, class to old exception. Are you getting right? Class to old exception extends runtime exception. Class to old exception extends runtime exception. Okay, like now to old exception of string message. Okay, now super of message. That's all. Only name of the exception got changed, sir. Sir, this total thing is defining exception. Are you getting? We are defining our own customized exception. Just I'm defining my own customized exception, right? Sir, how many exceptions I define? 2 exceptions. What is the first one? To young exception. Second one, to old exception. Just we are defining exception classes. Okay, now my requirement, how you can use these exception classes in your program? Are you getting? Based on your requirement, how you can use? Let me take, sir. Here I'm taking class. Okay, test my matrimonial application. Class test public static void main method, public static void main string array args. Public static void main string array args. Now the job is, sir, I want to pass end user age from the command prompt. Okay, end user age he has to provide from the command prompt. Assume that, sir. Now int age is equal to int age is equal to integer dot parse int integer dot parse int args of 0. Okay, args of 0, whatever first command line argument you are passing from the command prompt is treated as the age. Okay, age. If age greater than 60 years, if age greater than 60 years, sorry, my matrimonial application won't provide support, then I have to raise sir throw new. Which exceptions are actually two old exception just for fun. Let me take two young exception. Okay, like I want to pass some description also. What description I'm going to pass? Please wait some more time. Definitely you will get the best match. Definitely you will get the best match. Like this I'm taking. Throw new two young exception. Please wait some more time. Definitely you will get the best match. Okay, like this I took, sir. Sir, now else if, regarding else if age less than 18 years. Else if age less than 18 years. Okay, now throw new two old exception. Because less than 18 years I won't provide support, sir. In India government there is a problem. Less than 18 years marriages are not acceptable. That's why my matrimonial site is not going to be supported. Then throw new two old exception. Okay, just for fun I'm taking this one. Actually here I have to write two young exception, but anyway just for fun I interchanged this. Don't worry. Here two old exception. Here please your marriage age. Your age already crossed marriage age. Your age already crossed marriage age. No chance of getting married. Like this I took, sir. Okay, observe very carefully, sir. If age greater than 60 years, throw two young exception. If age less than 18 years, two old exception, like this. Sir, else means, can you please confirm? Age is within 18 to 60 years only. 18 to 60 years only supported, right? Now simple, sir. System.out.println, thanks for registration. You will get match details by mail. Regarding you will get match details by mail. End of the main method, end of the class. That's all. A simple example, you people can understand how you can create our own exception, how you can raise our own exceptions to the JVM. So to indicate something goes wrong, we have to raise our own exception. For that, throw keyword is the best choice. Are you getting right? Okay, just observe that throw keyword is the best choice for customized exceptions, right? That's all. Sir, it's a clear for all of you, right? So how to define our own exception. Every exception is a Java class. Extends runtime exception recommended to go for runtime. Next constructor super of that string argument we have to pass to the parent. Okay, like next based on the condition we have to raise the corresponding exception. That's all best example, right? But here there are 2 or 3 loopholes are there. Those things I will discuss. Don't worry about that. Sir, let me execute this code. Have a look once. Class 2 young exception extends runtime exception. Yes, 2 young exception. Class 2 old exception extends runtime exception. 2 old exception. Now class test public static void main. Now I'm trying to get the age from the command prompt. If age greater than 60, throw new 2 young exception. Please wait some more time. You will get best matches on. Sir, else if age less than 18, throw new too old exception. Your age is already crossed marriage age, no chance of getting marriage. Else system.out.println, thanks for registration, you will get match details by email. I hope everyone in the position to understand very clearly, right? Okay, let me run this code. Let me run this code. Observe carefully, sir. Here, let me compile. Yes, the code compiles fine, no problem. Let me run. I'm passing 99 years as the age, sir. If age greater than 60, immediately we are going to rise. Okay, here see this one, exception in thread main. Which exception got raised, sir? Too young exception. Please wait some more time, you will get best matches soon. Regarding please wait some more time, you will get best matches soon. This is the exception we are going to get, sir. Suppose if I'm trying to enter instead of 99, I'm trying to enter 14 years. 14 years. Have you observed, right? Exception in the thread main, too old exception. Your age is already crossed marriage age, no chance of getting the marriage. Okay, like this it's going to provide. Suppose best age for the marriage, right? 25 years. Best age for the marriage, 25 years, right? So now observe, thanks for registration, you will get match details, you will get match details by email. Like a perfectly it's working, sir. Sir, friends, I hope everyone in the position to understand how to define our own exceptions. Next, how you can use those exceptions in our programming based on our requirement, right? Clear? But here there are multiple loopholes are available. There are these 3 points. Let me highlight one very important. Take special care, sir. Do you know, if I have 10 by 0 system.out.println 10 by 0, can you tell what we are going to get? Respond, man. Why you are silent? SOP of 10 by 0, what we are going to get? Arithmetic exception. We covered multiple times arithmetic exception. So when arithmetic exception required to rise, JVM already having information. Array, whenever division by 0 happen, JVM, can you please rise exception? JVM clearly having information about arithmetic exception when it has to rise. When null pointer exception required to rise, JVM having clear clarity on the null. If you are performing any operation, suppose string s is equal to null x is equal to s dot length. X is equal to s dot length. Array null reference, if we are calling any method, immediately null pointer exception will be raised. JVM having information about built-in exceptions. Correct, right? JVM already having information about built-in exceptions, right? But take very special care. JVM not having any information about too young exception, too old exception, insufficient funds exception. Based on our programming requirement, we have to rise explicitly, because JVM not having any information, right? To rise explicitly, throw keyword must be required. Are you getting? Throw keyword must be required. The best use of throw keyword for customized exceptions, not for predefined exceptions. Everyone can able to understand, right? Where throw keyword is the best suitable to hand over our created exception object to the JVM manually. For that purpose, we can use what? Throw keyword. Throw keyword best suitable for customized exceptions, not for user defined exceptions. Clear? Friends, point number 1. Now let me go for one more point, sir. One more point I have to tell. What is that point is? Listen very carefully. Sir, what is the need of SOAP message? What the need? What the need of SOAP message? Very simple. Here two things you should aware. For too young exception, who is the superclass? Please confirm. Who is the superclass? Runtime exception. For runtime exception, which is the superclass? Exception. For exception, which is the superclass? Throwable. Okay. Now observe this hierarchy. Very important, sir. So too young exception, which is the child class of runtime exception, which is the child class of exception, which is the child class of throwable. Okay, well, here whenever we are throw to young exception, okay, am I defining any catch block? No catch block. If there is no catch block, normal termination or abnormal termination? Abnormal termination. So in the case of abnormal termination, to print exception information, who is the responsible? Default exception handler is the responsible. Default exception handler is the responsible to print exception information to the console. Correct, right? Who is the responsible? Default exception handler is the responsible to print exception information to the console. Okay, well, default exception handler will use which method to print exception information to the console? Have you remembered? Somewhere we cover print stack trace method. What is the method? Print stack trace method. Print stack trace method internally used by default exception handler to print information to the console. Okay, well, this print stack trace method present inside throwable class. Okay, present inside throwable class, print stack trace this information, right? Now my question is, how your provided description available to print stack trace method? Because print stack trace method printing your description also or not? So how your provided description will printed to the console? Is it available to the default exception handler? Yes, very simple. Here we are using so far. Because of so far, this message, whatever description we are passing, please wait some more time, like the description, this message we are passing to super class. Now we are passing this message to super class. We are passing super class. This runtime exception will pass that message to exception. This exception will pass that message to throwable. For the throwable class, this message is available, sir, to print stack trace method. Okay, print stack trace method present inside throwable class. Okay, required our description. How this description is it available? Just because of this super. Remember this one, sir. So why we are taking this super? To make description available. Description available to throwable class, so that from the throwable class print stack trace method, default exception handler can get that description displayed to the console. So very important questions are in my offline. There are several students are asking, sir, why you kept super? To make our description available to default exception handler, because default exception handler is always going to take from throwable class. So we have to make this description available to throwable class. Now, so default exception handler can able to get this description, right? Are you getting? Sir, here observe a bit carefully. Assume that I'm passing description. Sir, I'm passing description. Now observe 99 years I'm taking. Have a look one, sir, very important. 99 years I'm taking, sir. Now whenever 99, this line is going to execute, this description will be printed to the console or not. Observe that. Observe carefully. Exception in thread main, to young exception. Exception in thread main, to young exception. Please wait some more time. You will get best matches on. Please wait some more time. You will get best match so on. This is the description which is printed by default exception handler, sir. So this description, how it is available to default exception handler? Because of this is super, right? Suppose assume I'm commenting this one. Assume that I commented super call. I commented super call. Just I commented this line. If I comment this line, now description not available to throwable, now not available to default exception handler. Now default exception handler can print exception but not a description. Now have a look once. If I comment this line, what will happen, sir? If I comment this line, just observe carefully. Let me compile. Now here have you observed what is the answer? Exception. in thread main doing exception. Where is your description? Where is your description? Even though you pass a description, but it's not displaying, sir, because I commented super of message. So why we are taking super of message? To make our description available to default exception handler. Are you getting the point, right? This is the second point you should aware. First point number 1, throw keyword best suitable for customized exceptions. Next, the second point, what is the need of super of message? Super of this message to make our description available to default exception handler. With a pleasant mind, sir, think, then you can able to understand internal reason, right? Okay, well, now the third point. Observe carefully, sir. I gave the word at the beginning. It is highly recommended to extends runtime exception class. Highly recommended to extends runtime exception class. Sir, why we have to extend runtime exception class instead of exception or instead of throwable? What is the reason for that? Very simple, sir. Why you are raising this error? Why you are raising this exception? To indicate something goes wrong, I can't continue further. For that you are raising this exception. Are you getting? So handling this exception meaningless because you want to stop your program by raising some meaningful exception. For that we are going for customized exception. We never going to handle these customized exceptions, right? Okay, well, now my question is, observe carefully. If it is the child class of runtime exception, now our exception will become checked or unchecked. Hey, it is the child class of runtime exception. Now our exception is the checked or unchecked exception. Checked or unchecked exception? Yes, it is unchecked exception. If it is unchecked exception, even though we are raising, compiler never going to object where you are handling. Are you getting right? For unchecked exception, try catch is not required. Throws keyword is not required. Compiler never going to object. That's why happily the code compiles fine, happily the code runs fine, and raising corresponding exception. But now have a look once. If I can take instead of runtime exception, if I can take exception, so doing exception extends exception. Now doing exception will become checked exception or unchecked exception. Doing exception will become checked exception. Correct, right? Checked exception. If it is checked exception, whenever you are raising, immediately compiler is going to object. Hey, in your program there is a chance of raising checked exception, but you didn't handle, like the problem is going to come. Now, array to indicate something goes wrong, I'm raising this exception. What is the need of handling? That's why it is highly recommended to define our exceptions as unchecked but not checked. Now observe what is the problem here. Listen carefully, sir. Listen carefully. Instead of runtime exception I'm taking. Sir. Whenever we are taking exception, now this one will become checked, sir. This one will become checked. Whenever we are raising checked exception, immediately compiler is going to object. Unreported exception must be caught or declared to be thrown, like this, right? Observe carefully. Now have you observed? Unreported exception, doing exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the error by default we are getting. Are you getting the point, right? So means that if it is a checked exception, again we require to write try catch. Array, if you are going to write try catch, why you are using throw keyword? Are you getting the point, right? That's why highly recommended to define our own exceptions as unchecked but not checked. Unchecked means you have to extend runtime exception but not exception. These are 3 points you people should aware. Throw best suitable for customized exceptions, not for predefined exception. Second one, super of message to make a description available to default exception handler. Next, extends runtime exception. I want to make my customized exception as unchecked exception but not checked. For that, extends runtime exception we have to take, because I'm not interested to handle that exception, because I'm raising to indicate something goes wrong. Then where is the meaning of handling that exception? Clear, right? Are you able to understand?